And welcome into the Wednesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We got a lot going on the program today. Paul Kuharski from paulkuharski.com will be with us in the second half of the program. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. So looking forward to that. Joe Rexrode, happy Wednesday morning to you. What's going on?
Not much. Got that mic unmuted.
You nailed it.
We made it.
It happened. Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Doing okay, thanks. A little tired, but yeah, we have some TV issues here. So unfortunately, no sports center, but we are in the clear. Charmed is good to go. So
Charmed is all over the
we
studio
are all
right
set to rock this hump day.
There we go.
A lot of Charmed going on in the studio. Let the record show that at some point in this show, we're going to have a voluntary college basketball segment. That was my idea. I want the record to show it before we get into it. We're doing it today, and it's my gift to Rexrode here as we sit here in December. Actually going to talk some college basketball. Joe, your thoughts?
No, that's exciting. When you brought it up yesterday, and I was almost like fell out of my chair. I didn't know what to do.
Big week.
I tried to say like 1,000 words in like 1 minute. Yes, exciting. You're a hoop head.
Yeah, I can't get enough of it this time of year. Cannot get enough of it. So we will get into that a little bit later in the show as well. Joe, we begin with some news that, frankly, I don't know that I expected yesterday, but is cool, and there's been a lot of reaction to it. Nick Saban has joined the Nashville Predators organization. He has purchased a minority stake in the Predators along with Joe Agresti and Bill Haslam announcing that yesterday. Coach Saban putting this quote out there on the Predators website and the statement, quote, "Although I am now retired as a coach, I still possess a competitive nature and a great passion for sports. Being involved in a sports team in Nashville has always been a goal, and the opportunity to partner in the Predators with a class act like Bill Haslam created the perfect scenario for us. Preds are a great organization with a fantastic brand, and we're excited to be part of the future success of the franchise." So that is the statement that Nick Saban has released as now a part of the Nashville Predators. Now, Joe, people have run with the, being a part of a team here in Nashville has always been a goal of mine. And it's like, well, there's a team right now that could probably use your help in the Tennessee Titans. So Titans fans had fun with that yesterday. But, Joe, your thoughts on Nick Saban buying a minority stake in the Nashville Predators and being now part owner?
I just feel bad for Joe Agresti. It's like his big day. And it's like, oh, and also this other dude. They put their pictures right next to each other. That was nice. Yeah, Saban, I think he came to a lot of those playoff games, didn't he? Or, at least a few in 17.
He was at least at one. He may have been at a couple.
Okay.
I know for sure he's one.
I've already been hyperbolic then. I thought he like really got on the bandwagon. I know Barkley came to one.
Yes.
I think Saban and Barkley may have been the same one. Was it just during the final? Is that what it was?
I believe that is correct.
Okay. Well, anyway. Yeah, it's hey, I don't know what it really means, and I do kind of agree with Kuharski. It's like, put out how much, give us a little, how much did he get? Is this just like, like a sliver of a sliver, so you can say Nick Saban, or is he really have some skin in the game now? You know what I mean? But we're not going to get that information.
No.
So, it's great for him, to get something going. People, I guess, I don't know if this means people will stop asking him about coaching, but it's another endeavor for him. It's a little bit of attention for the Preds, and it's a chance for the Titans to be like, gee, man, we're a football team in Nashville. What about us?
We don't really want you to be part owner, but maybe a coach would be good.
Actually, we do want you to be part owner or all owner if you could, but probably don't have quite the funding for that yet.
Probably not. Probably not.
Could he coach them and own the Preds? Why not?
Why not? I think you could multitask that way. I will say the mental image in my head of like Nick Saban being really involved with this thing and what's going on the penalty kill? Why can't we get that figured out? Is awesome to me. So I hope that he's a little bit more hands-on. I do know that he came, I think, over the summer and spent time with Andrew Brunette, and I think spoke at their development camp stuff. So he has been around the Predators, but now in an official capacity. Also, how often is he going to be here? I mean, I can't imagine it's going to be overly often with all the other stuff that he does. But now, when college football wraps up here in the next month and a half, is he the stretch part of the season and the regular season? Is Saban just going to be hanging out with his new hockey team?
No, he's got a car dealership to tend to. He's got that, but even in season, I mean, is Vanderbilt going to be great now from now on? Because we start having game days here regularly,
That's true.
So he won't even have to, be in town. He can do a game day, check on the Preds, and check on his dealership trifecta in one weekend.
Yeah, it's special to think about. I mean, you could see even more Nick Saban around here, which I know is always a special thing for you. It takes you back to your early days at Michigan State.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when I was terrified to ask a question.
He looks
PTSD
younger than
from
now.
that. Thanks. Yeah, he does. He does. So Gentry Estes wrote an interesting column in the Tennessean about, like the Titans should try to, try to see if he'd want to do anything with them, and he was talking about how, Gentry covered him at Alabama, and he had this authority figure, and no one wanted to disappoint him, which I agree. Obviously, worked at Alabama. I will say that, like, when he was with the Dolphins, it did not go well. In terms, there were people. It was like, do not look at Coach Saban. Speak to Coach Saban when spoken to. So, I'm just saying, there were some people at the Dolphins organization who thought he might have been wound a little tight, but that's also probably has something to do with the fact that he was like, oh crap, I don't have the best players every game that I play now, and we're 8-8.
Well, Ryan O'Reilly better shape up now that Saban's around. In O'Reilly's words, the one good year that he's had, he's got to shape up a little bit better now that Saban's around.
Actually, Ryan, I don't think you've had any good years.
Stanley Cup and a Conn Smythe, anybody can do that.
Are you going to listen to me, or are you going to listen to these guys?
I need a PowerPoint presentation of a 1-3-1 neutral zone trap that Saban wants to run out there. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoy the game day. He and Chris Feller do a film thing. On every game day. Why can't let's get that going with some hockey?
Study some film.
I remember the left wing lock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it is cool. It did generate a lot of attention yesterday on the Predators front, and I have no idea, in all seriousness, how involved in the day-to-day stuff he's going to be. My guess is probably not much. Bill Haslam is still the majority owner of all this. He's the one that is around day-to-day and doing all the stuff. But cool to have Saban a part of the franchise, and I'm sure that there will be some ways that the Predators utilize him as the new owner here. And who knows, Joe? I mean, maybe one day when our show keeps going as well as it is right now, that you and I can join forces alongside Saban and be minority stake owners in the Nashville Predators.
Ooh, there we go. The Vibin ownership group.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Haslams, how many times has the Haslam family collectively cursed Nick Saban's name?
It's probably a lot
over time.
I thought about that.
Hate that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I would imagine that Nick Saban has cost Bill Haslam at least a few sleepless nights, and here you go, partnering with him. Good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, my gosh, Saban. What was his run against the Vols?
I mean, he won.
Do you remember
15 straight.
the number?
Yeah.
He won 15 straight.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah. Sorry to bring that up.
Including the first year when they really had no business winning, and then Mount Cody was in there. There's a few special ones in there that mostly they just kicked Tennessee's butt, but there were a few special ones in there that did a nice job of ripping my heart out. That was fun.
I mean, Butch almost got him, man.
Yeah, I know, which is kind of amazing.
In what, 15?
He's kind of laying the ground. Was he laying the groundwork, you think, at the time for Bush to be his future intern at that point? Maybe if I let this guy hang around, he'll go pick up my sandwich every now and then.
Does this mean Butch is going to be like a comms intern here coming up or something?
Well, that'd be the
don't
day I
know,
stop
huh?
covering the Nashville Predators.
Oh, God.
So,
Oh, come on. Bygones.
nope.
Butch would be fun to have around.
Hey, Butch is as far like Butch. I guess he's going to be the Arkansas State coach forever. And guys,
I think they made a bowl
he's
game.
Getting in a bowl game. Yeah,
They
he's
did.
just
They
going to
did
be
get in
hanging
a bowl
around,
game.
getting in a bowl game, and coaching at Arkansas State forever.
I mean, I guess that's good.
I could think of a worse gig.
Arkansas
I could think
State.
of something worse.
Where
yeah.
are the fans? There's no fans here. Where are they?
Uh,
Maybe my favorite moment for the entirety of the college football season is Butch Jones walking out of the tunnel and realizing no one's in the stands to watch his team. Where are the fans?
Yeah, that was pretty great. Let me just say, Butch Jones is from, I believe, Big Rapids, Michigan.
Okay,
I know of a certain Big Ten university that needs a head coach.
I agree.
Yeah, he's been a coach up in the MAC, been a coach in the SEC. I'm just saying.
I think it'd be a great hire.
Keep an eye on that one. He's probably about 111th on the list, but we'll see. We'll see.
One texter says the Nick Saban bobblehead night will be epic. That'll be a good one. Get that Nick Saban bobblehead night at Bridgestone Arena. That could be sweet. I'm sure the
Nick Saban
plans are already in motion.
Nick Saban slamming a beer for sure.
Yeah,
gotta happen.
Exactly. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will switch gears and get into the Titans, including the performance of someone the last couple of weeks that I wonder if it makes the Titans rethink maybe one of their plans this offseason. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Joe, an uptick in production the last couple of weeks on the Titans front from the running game and specifically from Tony Pollard. And we all know the Cleveland game, right? 161 yards on the ground on 25 carries, 2 touchdowns, kind of a breakout performance for him. Almost literally out of nowhere, right? Like the 3 games before his 161-yard performance, Joe, against Cleveland, he had 22 yards against Houston on 10 carries, 20 yards on 11 carries against Seattle, and 60 yards on 10 carries against Jacksonville. So there just wasn't a whole lot going on in the running game for the Titans up until that point. And then the last couple of weeks, it's his only 200-yard games of the year, 161 against Cleveland. He had 14 carries for 104 yards and another touchdown against San Francisco last week. So back-to-back 100-yard performances for Tony Pollard. Pollard's yards per attempt on the season now, Joe, is actually up to 4.5, which is a better number than it was last year. Last year, he was at 4.2 yards per attempt. He ended up with 260 carries for 1,079 yards last year, 4.2 per attempt. He's at 847 right now, 4.5 per attempt. I think he's probably going to end up with fewer carries than he had a year ago. He's at 189 right now. But basically, out of nowhere, the Titans have been able to run the ball pretty effectively over the last couple of weeks. So, Joe, I guess number one, what do you make of, I guess, this sudden uptick in production specifically from Pollard? And my question for you is, if he keeps this up, right around this level of play in the last 3 games here, and they're running for, close to 100 yards a game out of him in the last 3 games here, does that at all change how you view him, how you view the running back position, if you're the Titans heading in the offseason, given the fact that we know there's already so many positions that they're going to have to work on this offseason?
I'm going to say probably not
Nice.
on Pollard. Thank you. All due respect. Okay, so I'm looking at the free agent, projected free agents here coming up here. You've got, Breece Hall would be a big one, right?
Yep.
Javonte Williams, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, and then you get into Tyler Algier, and who is a heck of a power running back. Then you have obviously you've got Jeremiah Love, of course, but Nick Singleton at Penn State. Justice Haynes was having a tremendous year for Michigan before he got hurt. The other Katron Allen for Penn State too.
Yep.
Price, the other Notre Dame kid. I just feel like it's the time to move on. Pollard at 28 years old. I agree. He's at least good for him to this segment never even comes close to being thought of, right?
Yep.
If not for what he has done, and good for him. I mean, I do think, I guess some of it comes down to how you also view the other guys. Spears, do you want him as your third down back? I mean, I feel like you need to have new blood in there one way or the other. And I think you can upgrade. I think you can upgrade on Pollard in this free agency class if you go after somebody. You have the cap space. It's not the top priority. It's down the list of priorities, but it's more of a difference maker at that position. Means quite a bit to an NFL team. As much as it's devalued, great players at that position mean a lot. And I'm not saying the Titans can get someone like Saquon Barkley in his prime, but look what he did for the Eagles last year. You can't tell me that didn't change things for them dramatically on the way to winning it all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I guess the weird part is, it's been a long stretch of him basically doing nothing in the running game prior to this. Basically from the Raiders game, which was on October the 12th, until the Cleveland game, there was almost nothing going on in the running game. This was his stretch, just purely carries and yards from October the 12th until the Cleveland game. He had 10 for 34 against the Raiders, 6 for 18 against the Patriots, 11 for 44 against the Colts, 10 for 56 against the Chargers, 10 for 22 against Houston, 11 for 20 Seattle, 10 for 60 against Jacksonville. And then all of a sudden, boom, 25 for 161 against Cleveland. Like it's amazing how it was basically just nothing. And then boom, the last couple of weeks, they've been really effective running the ball. I mean, him specifically, he averaged 6.4 a carry against Cleveland and 7.4 a carry against San Francisco last week.
Yeah. So what does that mean? The offensive line obviously has, I just think collectively kind of, I don't know, gelled together a little bit, or they just had a couple really good weeks. I mean, so some of the credit goes there probably, but yeah, when you have a huge explosive like he had against Cleveland, which kind of came out of nowhere, that's obviously going to help everything. But good for him for hanging in there. I mean, he's a solid player. Now, Scott from Waverly is like, draft the Love kid and get rid of Pollard. He's not consistent. I mean, if you want to draft the Love kid, you're going to.
It's going to have to be high.
Yeah, it's going to be high. Now, were the Titans going to get the first pick? Is it possible then they're down somewhere that that would be reasonable? Yeah, but I think that Dane Brugler has him as the number 5 overall prospect.
He's going to get drafted in the top 10, I think. If not top 10, top 12.
I think so too. Brugler's mock has him going 11 to the Vikings. It's just one of those years where I think he's going to be a great player in the NFL. Good for the team that gets him. That would be, he's not so good that you should detach yourself from the huge problems you have at edge and receiver.
Can you imagine if they drafted Jeremiah Love and like Carnell Tate was still sitting there and that's what they did? I mean, this fan base would lose their mind.
It's like he better be a slot receiver too. Darn it.
Yeah, like I'm with you. Like I still think good for Pollard. The totality of the season would tell me that you have to at least be worried that he's lost a step. And if he has already, if you're already worried about that, what's another year going to look like, right? So I think it would be wise for the Titans to try to upgrade this offseason at the running back spot, whether that's in the draft. That's fine if it ends up going out that way. I would, if you're going to draft a running back, I'd rather it be in the 4th or 5th round. I think the running back is a prime spot, Joe, where all this cap space they're going to have and all this money that's going to be available to them. I think that would be a spot where you need to use it because we've seen some pretty impactful free agent running backs over the last couple of years. And I don't know that, maybe Breece Hall, his next stop, he's, an electric player. He's really good. Unfortunately for him, he's played for the Jets and there's just not a whole lot going on in that organization. But to me, with all the money that they're going to have available to them to spend, running back is a place where it makes some sense to spend some of that money and then focus your draft capital on the places that we always talk about focusing draft capital on.
Exactly. And this franchise does have some history. Well, look, Pollard was a good pickup. I mean, of course, everybody's like Derrick Henry. And for Pollard, I mean, I think I actually wrote that in The Athletic. Oh, my God, they just swapped out, Derrick Henry for Pollard. He's been good. DeMarco Murray was past his greatest point in the NFL when he led the league in rushing with the Cowboys, but that was a pretty good pickup for John Robinson. I agree. It's what you do. And I hate the discourse around the running back position in a lot of ways. I think some people are, it's a passing league. Yeah, man, a big time running back can mean so much to you in this league. And I hated some of the discourse around Derrick Henry. Like there were actually idiots in this town who thought they shouldn't have extended him after what he was doing. My God, imagine if they didn't do that. But he's also a unicorn. And this is the position where once you get in the late 20s, get ahead of the curve.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. We heard Arden Key sound off after the game on Sunday about how there are no adjustments being made out there. Well, one Titans coach had a response to that yesterday. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Tonight, Vanderbilt men's basketball takes on Memphis, a 6 o'clock tip-off. Pregame show starting at 5:30 on 94.9 The Fan. Big basketball night. We'll get into some college basketball a little bit later in the program.
Did you watch any of that last night?
No, I did not. I was at another event last night, but I'm glad to discuss college basketball a little bit later in the program with Rexrode. I know he's teeming with excitement, so we will get into that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, I watched every second of it, of course.
I'm sure you did. I knew you would. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Joe, we heard after the game on Sunday for the Titans, Arden Key sound off, expressed his frustration with what was going on defensively out there, and basically said, we don't adjust. There's no adjustments going on. He later elaborated, X's and O's, no adjustments going on out there, which generated a lot of reaction. We discussed that on the show Monday about how that appears to be Arden Key's go-to problem that he discusses. I think he's done it now 3 times when it comes to either lack of adjustments or no corrections being made, whatever phrase you want to use. We've seen this from Arden Key before. Well, Titans defensive coordinator Denard Wilson was asked about that yesterday, and I thought gave a pretty interesting response. Here's what Denard Wilson had to say on Arden Key's insinuation that the Titans coaching staff not making any adjustments out there.
You adjust the whole time. Sometimes you look at it in the second half. I mean, what other adjustments do we need? We lost a one-on-one ball in man coverage, and we missed a tackle, and we didn't hinge on cover 2. I don't know what else adjustments that we needed. At this point, everybody has an opinion, about everything. Everybody needs to stay in their lane and focus on what they need to focus on.
That was Denard Wilson yesterday, Joe. Says everybody needs to stay in their lane, focus on what they need to focus on. Said, I don't know what adjustments you're looking for in the second half. It's a one-on-one man coverage situation that we lost. Can't make any tackles out there. So did not sound like Denard Wilson, a big fan of Arden Key's post-game comments.
Yeah. Well, I will say I'd like to hear the question on that. Like, how was that framed to him? Who was that? Kaharski saying, Arden said, guess what Arden said?
Well, I tried to go back and get the actual press conference video audio from the website, but I guess they no longer post the
Titans have mailed it in.
The coordinators.
Titans they've given up.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah. So that's, but he's I don't blame him. I mean, it's the idea that they what does that even mean? They don't adjust. So you're saying that you're in the exact, I mean, that if you're saying that you don't adjust, you are saying that you are basically in the exact same defense every play.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be technical about it, if you want to be literal about it.
Yeah. No adjustments out there. It's wow, they've been in cover 2, 15 plays in a row. It's amazing.
Yeah. Now, of course, then, Denard Wilson, hits a couple plays where the call wasn't the problem, but I'm sure if he's also, if you want to be totally transparent, I'm sure there were some calls he'd like back, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be for every game, for every DC or every OC? I mean, so it's everyone needs the season to end is my takeaway from this.
Well, look, I will be totally honest with you. If anybody else other than Arden Key was talking about this, I'd probably take it a little bit more seriously. But as I mentioned, this is the 3rd time he's done this. When I think it was the off season or early in training camp after Callahan was first hired. And he's like, that last coaching staff, you just didn't make any corrections. It's really? Shane Bowen and Mike Vrabel were walking around and they just never corrected anything out there? Nothing ever happened?
They're just slapping everybody on the butt and saying, good job.
They're watching film. There's nothing happened. And then later that same year, by the end of the season, when it went as poorly as it did last year for the Titans, at another point in the year, Arden Key was talking about how they don't make any corrections out there. And it's at some point in the year, this just seems to be Arden Key's go-to of either a coaching staff from years past or the one that he's currently playing under. Apparently, don't make good enough adjustments for Arden Key out there. So if it was anybody else, I'd probably care a little bit more. I find it kind of funny every time Arden Key does it now.
Yeah, exactly. And I would think that that would be known too by the coaching staff, right? So maybe if it was somebody else, this would be one of these things where it's like, okay, we need to handle this. This is an issue. It's
Right.
like, oh, Arden.
He's Arden sounding off again. Subscriber to paulkuharsk.com.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have a stake in the site, right?
Yeah.
Is he a minority owner just like
Well,
Saban is with the Predators?
Maybe so. You know, I mean, we're going to get into a discussion here in a few minutes of, who are veteran players on this team that the Titans could have the opportunity to bring back, that fans actually want to bring back. I don't imagine that that's going to be a very long list. Like, I think a lot of Titans fans will want as much roster turnover as possible. There has been the idea floated out there, which I have understood the thought process of it. I really do. Like, because I do think you can make the case this year that the Titans defense at times has performed better than they probably should have based on the talent and who's available to them. Now, that's starting to go the other way the last couple of weeks. Like, they just got shelled by San Francisco. Shedeur Sanders threw for like 360 or whatever it was on them on an offense that's not very good. So I don't know that you can continue to make that argument the way that it's gone the last few weeks out there. It seems to be going the other way. And, when Jeffrey Simmons is not getting to the quarterback, they're having a tough time right now. But, the idea has been floated out there of, this next coach, whenever they hire their next coach, could Denard Wilson stay on as defensive coordinator? And, Joe, I guess I'm not going to sit here and, like, totally dismiss that now. My guess is, depending on who the coach is, like, if you go hire, first off, some defensive guy, they're probably going to want their own people in there.
Yeah. If that's the case, then yeah, I don't see it.
Right. If it's an offensive guy, then maybe they look at the job that Denard Wilson has done. The likelihood is, though, like, if you go hire one of these coaches, particularly this coaching cycle, which I think is shaping up to be, the halfway decent coaching cycle out there, you're probably going to have an entirely new coaching staff. That would be my guess.
Right. That coach will probably have his guy now, or you might have, I always think of the McVay situation where when he got that job, excuse me, he went to Wade Phillips, and it was like, you know what? I need a veteran, accomplished, long-time successful head coach of the defense. There you go.
Worked
Wade
out pretty
Phillips.
well for him.
Yeah. So, although I think Denard Wilson, I think he for people who are paying close attention, I think he's helped himself this year, and I think he's going to be a defensive coordinator somewhere else. I think at some point, I think he's going to have a chance to be a head coach in the NFL. This might have to just be whatever they call it, passing game coordinator for a year or two somewhere, and maybe a co-DC, something like that. But yeah, it's possible if you have an offensive guy who really doesn't have any strong feelings on anybody that he could be retained. I mean, I guess you could also have the possibility of a more accomplished DC coming in and seeing if he wants to hang around and be demoted. But it's probably, it seems like stuff like that, it's just better to just go somewhere else.
Well, I think that's the way it's probably going to shake out here. I mean, you could tell, like, if you watch the video, Kuharski put out the video of Wilson's answer there on the Key front. I mean, you can tell he's pretty bothered by those comments from Arden Key. And I think you nailed it. Like, I think there's a lot of, boy, let's get this season over with behind the scenes here with the Titans, which I understand. I mean, they're 2-12, so it has not been a whole lot of fun around there. Defensively, I'm really interested to see how this goes the last few games here, because they're just so devoid of talent at corner right now. Winston's going to be out the rest of the year now on IR, so you're not even seeing your young safety get in there and play right now. Just on the back end specifically, they are totally out of it. When you look around the whole defense, Joe, I think it's been a good year from Cedric Gray, right? Like, Cedric Gray has flashed and has shown some things for you. Obviously, Jeffrey Simmons has done a good job. And really much past that, there's not a whole lot to point to on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, well, Jod Ward has definitely been a revelation, kind of out of nowhere. Yeah, they've had some decent play, and it's not like Amani Hooker is bad. It's, you sign the extension and you hope for a little bit better season from him. He's still a guy who is part of the future, so and still is a good player. But yeah, Barton, I think, was a little oversold. Now, I guess Gray in a way has kind of been what Barton was supposed to be, and you'd rather it be Gray now,
Yeah.
right? It's your young guy who he's a rookie, and so you have to be excited about that. But not much else. And of course, the big question I think on that side of the ball, other than who the heck is playing corner in the future, big question to me is Devondre Sweat.
Yep, going to be a big decision that they're going to have to make in terms of what sort of a role is he going to play moving forward. And, how does Borgonzi feel about that right now? I don't know. That's going to be an interesting thing to watch over the offseason. So I don't think there's a lot that's interesting with the Titans in terms of like the veteran guys that are already here that they're going to bring back. Like, I mean, Joe, I guess I would assume that they've been as vocal as they've been on the Jeffrey Simmons front about how important he is. Like, I know he's technically, I guess, got 2 years left on his deal, but my guess is they're probably going to rework that this offseason, right? Like, they made the decision to hang on to him and not trade him at the deadline. And Borgonzi got up there at the podium and basically talked about how Jeffrey Simmons is the model for what they want in this organization moving forward. So my guess is that you're probably going to see them try to work on that this offseason.
Yeah, that's an interesting question for Kaharski today when he comes in. But I think it makes sense. You don't really want him to be like going into a contract year in that first year in the stadium thing. It's an interesting, I guess my question is, what are we talking about here? What kind of term, what kind of money are we talking about? But look, you can't argue with what he's done. If this is he's stayed healthy, he's been a dominant player this year. And so if this is what you're getting, and while again there's still some like take him off field goal, please, but if and the leadership stuff, I think sometimes maybe gets a little overblown, but still obviously he's learned some things there too, right? I feel like he's really this has just been a huge year for him in terms of coming into his own. And so, yeah, you've got to have that, I think, now. I mean, if that's what you're going to have and you can effectively put some pieces around him, then I think you got to feel good right now about at least a couple more years of high level play. It's all about health, but why wouldn't you think that now? And remember, Robbie, going into last year, before we saw him play this year, I know my opinion was more like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but this year is just like, how do you not watch him every week and say, yeah, man, I mean, it's just a different player. It's the best he's played.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We would take your thoughts on the Titans. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, the game. Today, between noon and 3, Chase and Big Joe will have your chance to win a $100 Moments Peace Salon and Day Spa gift card and qualify to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card as well. It's the 12 Days of Christmas on 102.5 The Game. Paul Kuharski from paulkuharski.com will be with us a little bit later in the program. Coming up here in about 30 minutes, Joe is almost all but guaranteed to upset longtime Vols fans. So we will get into that a little bit later in the show as well. Looking forward to it. No response from Rexrode. He's just seething, ready for it.
I'm confused.
What are you
have to
confused
help me
by?
now.
You're gonna. It's 7:15. You're going to piss off some Volunteers fans. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I guess that's true. Yeah. You're right.
Oh,
I
know
it's a
I'm
weird
right.
one.
It's going to happen.
Well, I won't. I'm not gonna like rant about it, but I'm a little perplexed by this one.
Okay,
A little bit.
We'll
Little
get
bit.
into that a little bit later in the show. Ryan in Florida throwing out there like we need to get Jeffrey Simmons rushing. That was our message after the game on Monday. We got to get Jeffrey Simmons the ball a little bit more out there on offense. Give him a carry.
Like we joke, but I actually would like the way he is running now.
I'm not joking. Goal line.
Like seriously.
We saw with Caden Proctor how scary that looked earlier with Alabama.
Exactly.
That's right. No doubt. And we're talking about a much, much bigger human than Jeffrey Simmons. Now that's college football versus the NFL, but the way he caught that ball, after the scramble drill.
He's athletic.
Because one of the big worries is if you're really talking seriously about big man touchdowns is ball security.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like he's gonna have a vice-like grip and everything will be just fine. Give him the ball.
Yep. No, I mean,
we saw Big Sweat have a fumble return.
Exactly.
Couple moves, right?
Good grief. Can you imagine that? You imagine that jumbo package? Sweat at fullback, Simmons at running back.
I mean, the problem is that Simmons would be running up his back to get in the end zone. It's like move it, man. Might need to flip it around.
I bet he could get in there and get some nice forward momentum going. Sweat could for one play.
You might have
you better score on the play.
Yeah, I don't know if you could fit through the hole.
Yeah.
You might have a tush push though.
Ball forward.
That's right.
Don't kill anyone.
That's right. Joe, I'm looking at this team and I'm trying to figure out, are there any veteran guys that you look at that are not going to be obviously like Skoronski, right? Like they're going to want Skoronski back. So I'm not talking about him in this conversation but when it comes to making your decision on, a 5th-year option coming up and you've got all that to figure out, if you're like the Skoronski, I think is played himself into this year, barring some change in the next year or so. Like Skoronski, I think is going to be here for a long time. Right. So,
yep.
I think that's a piece that, it's his 3rd year at this point. I guess at the NFL, by the time you're a 3rd-year player, I guess you're a veteran at that point, right? If you've been playing as much as he has. So I'm not really talking about guys like that in this discussion, but Arden Key is in there. They don't have a lot of edge rush help right now. You mentioned Jihad Ward a little bit earlier, who has been, I think, revelation may be too strong of a word, but he's played much better than people thought heading into this. Beyond that, are there Titans fans that want to keep Tony Pollard? I don't think there are a lot of veteran guys that this group has that Titans fans are going to be overly excited to see back. I don't think there are a lot of veteran guys that they've got that are in that situation that Borgonzi is going to want to keep around. One thing that I do wonder about is, Ridley's obviously hurt. I think you can make the case that they're probably going to move on from him after this year. What are you doing at wide receiver on the veteran front? Because I do think it's important to have one of those guys in there. I mean, you can't, to me, next year, Joe, have a receiving room of DK, Io Manor, and a couple of high draft picks, and that be like your receiving room next year. So I am very curious specifically in that room to see how they handle that.
Yeah, I would agree, because I was just going to say, we're almost just dismissing Ridley as a possibility of being on the team. Maybe that's not true. Maybe What is it? Does he have 2 years left in his deal? Is that right?
I think he does.
Yeah. So now on the free agent front, well, Mike Evans, you get some of these guys.
Sure, he'd be excited to come here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can say that about anyone, right? It's like, I guess if you really like Cam Ward, Nashville is an asset for you. Nick Saban now owns part of the Predators, by the way.
That's true.
Maybe he'll come to a game. Yeah, Jacoby Myers, McLaurin. You got Devontae Smith out there. I mean, Garrett Wilson. Boy, the Pickens thing is going to be really interesting.
Yes.
Right. Debo. I mean, Juwan Jennings is a guy who, and I understand I'm a Vol homer, so just remember that later when you get mad at me, Vols fans. But I really don't hate Juwan Jennings as a possibility. So some of these guys, there's some good talent in the free agent pool. You're probably looking more like I don't know. You're probably looking more like Plan B-ish, just someone to be in the room. Okay, so Van Jefferson is he in a 1 year?
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Yes, he's on the list.
I mean, he hasn't been a bad ad. For as much as we always complain about all these veteran signings that don't work out, I feel like he's been about what you hoped, hasn't he? Been fine.
He's been fine. I mean, he's right now he's a number 4 or 5 wide receiver in the NFL that's starting every game because of where they're at wide receiver.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I mean, you have to remember that when you're talking about his part of it. But yeah, like he's he had a bad drop in the Cleveland game, and you want him to catch that ball. But yeah, like he's made some plays for them this year. I guess that depends on what were your expectations for Van Jefferson heading into the year, because I think if you were realistic and measured, then it's been about what you thought it would be from Van Jefferson.
Yeah, with some of the other guys they've signed, the Tylers recently, not working out at all.
Probably avoid anybody named Tyler.
Yeah. So what would be bad about, other than you just don't trust that he'll stay healthy, but what would be bad about just sticking with Ridley?
I mean, are you the one concern I have with him is, why does it always take him forever to get going? And you thought maybe this year would be the exception to that because of how well it seemed that they connected in training camp. Talked about he and Ward, but it took him a while. Like, it took him a while again to get going. So why, to me, that happens enough with Ridley at this point to think that that's just what it is. Like, it's going to be, a month and a half into the season before he really starts to play well. And that would be my biggest hesitation with him.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, between that and then age, health, all that stuff.
You throw a name
I guess
at
it's okay.
I think, I don't know this, I think this guy is going to be out there based on where the rest of the team that he's on right now, their receiving core is going. What do you think of Romeo Doubs, who I think is going to be available, that has been a good player, not a great player, that I don't think is going to be like extremely expensive. Like, he's probably, when he's on, he's probably a decent number 2 wide receiver. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't hate it. And
market value on the spot track is like 11 mil.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. And I think from his perspective, when we talk about, will this player want to come to Tennessee? I think he's the type of player that would look at this situation and say, okay, I can go there and get more opportunity, and then maybe my next bite at the apple is better.
Yeah.
So,
and he's only 25 at the moment. He'll be 26 next year.
Yeah, I think that could make sense on both sides. So, yeah, thank you. You got any other Packers that you'd like to?
No, I mean, I think that they're gonna, I think, re-sign Watson this offseason. They just drafted Matthew Golden. They've got Wicks there. They've got Reed there. Like, I just think he's going to be out after this year. So, like, if you're looking at realistic targets that could be available that could come in and fill that role, like, I think he's going to be on the list.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, excuse me. I don't hate that one at all. It's probably something like that. Like, I think that you're just going to have to probably, if you do draft one of these guys high, you're probably just looking at a fast track to look, you've got to be you're in the starting lineup right away, and we need a number one wide receiver, and that's what you're going to be in short order. But yeah, a guy like Dobbs is kind of sort of like your de facto wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Not that those designations necessarily even matter that much, but it's certainly a starting guy who can make plays right off the jump, as whoever you draft maybe takes a little time to get going. And then maybe you have a nice tandem there.
What about this? This is going to be an interesting one too. Gunnar Helm playing well right now, and excited to see what he turns into. What are you doing with Chig if you're the Titans this offseason? Is he back, or are you trying to upgrade at tight end?
That's a great question. I think he's helped himself. I do. I think that there's something there with him and Cam. So I would lean toward more Chig. Now, I'm not saying you can't upgrade on him. So that's what it's all about. Who are we talking about? What are we talking about? The thing with the Titans is they do have the cap space. And so in any of these situations, if you have a chance to actually upgrade, they should do it. But I'm not saying just keep him because it's cheaper and easier. I do think that he has taken a step this year.
Yeah, I think he has too. Now, I know a lot of Titans fans will hear that and be like, yeah, we could do better than Chig Okonkwo at tight end. And I understand that. But again, it goes back to how many needs do you think you're going to solve in one off season? That's what I keep coming back to is we all know they've got a ton of work to do. How much work can you do in one off season?
Yeah, you're going to have to. Yeah, you're just going to have to in some spots be like, okay, this is just going to have to be good enough. And again, if that's good enough with some continuity that could keep building, then that to me adds value to that situation.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We will continue to take your thoughts on the Titans. Kuharski will be with us a little bit later in the program. We got some college basketball talk coming up next. The Vols in action. Vanderbilt undefeated in action tonight against Memphis. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Paul Kuharski from paulkuharski.com will be with us at 8 o'clock on the program. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him, so looking forward with that. With PK coming up a little bit later in the show. Here in about 10 minutes or so, Rexrode is going to very much anger longtime Vols fans, so I look forward to that. Speaking of the Vols, Joe, a big win for Tennessee basketball last night. They crushed Louisville 83-62 at home. A top 25 matchup, number 11 Louisville, number 20 Tennessee. Tennessee improves to 8-3 on the season. And Jacoby Gillespie, 23 points last night. He was 5 of 12 from the field, but 3 of 7 from three-point land. Nate Ament, 13 points for the Vols last night, and they get it done. Joe, it's a big win for Tennessee, who, as you mentioned yesterday, had been going through some struggles over the last couple of weeks, and maybe defensively have not played to the level that we're accustomed to seeing from Rick Barnes. And you mentioned some communication issues that you thought that they were having, that Rick Barnes discussed after the Illinois game last week. That's a big win for Tennessee yesterday when it comes to just basically blowing out Louisville at home. What did you make of the performance by the Vols last night?
Yeah, a big win, a win that will carry some weight moving forward for sure. And yeah, it's funny because Tennessee's defense, I mean, Illinois carved them up pretty good. Hit some shots, but Illinois in some places out toughed them too. That was what was surprising. Now Tennessee still, we're talking about number 12 Ken Palm defense. That's pretty good. Now we're used to Rick Barnes teams flirting with 1, 2, 3 spots, and they're not going to be that. They're not going to be that this year. You just have a very different lead guard in Jacoby Gillespie than you did in obviously Zakai Ziegler. Zakai Ziegler was the ultimate head of the snake of a great defensive team. That's not Gillespie. Now, Gillespie is a very good offensive player. And like you said, 23 last night. Ament does, hit some shots, get you 13. I like a lot how Felix Okpara has gotten better this year. And you don't see it in his numbers. He played way better last night than his numbers suggest. I like the Jalen Carey ad for them, 12 and 10 for him last night. And they got some young guys who are coming on here. Evans hits all 3 of his threes. So you got some. It's a team that I think, as those young guys may do a little bit more, and they're just chemistry builds. I still think they can be a really good team and a threat in the SEC, and a threat to do damage in the NCAA tournament. So I don't know that they quite have everything you need. Look, Ament is a very good player, but he's. The comparisons can sometimes just be so they make it almost impossible for someone to not be a disappointment. And so I understand the Kevin Durant stylistic comparison with him.
Yeah.
But I mean, my goodness, he's probably going to go and be a first round pick. But I'd look at him right now. I'm like, my gosh, you need a year with Garrett Mettenwald and another year in college, and then you could be something. And he's a very good shooter, but he's not Kevin Durant, So I think a lot of the hopes of this team being like a title contender hinged on him being a star. And sometimes that's a difference between a freshman coming in, a skinny freshman, and like a guy like Dalton Connect, who's a grown man in his 20s, right? Who obviously was a huge surprise 2 years ago, but I'm just saying the skinny freshman leading a team, every once in a while you get a guy like Boozer at Duke. I mean, He is a grown man, or Pete at Arizona, but most of them still look like kids who just got out of high school.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched some of Ament this year. You can see, I mean, the length, the ability, like he looks fluid out there with the way that he moves. Like the movement is good. So you could see why he's, regarded the way that he is. There are some Tennessee fans, particularly early in the year, and some of the discourse around him is like, well, this guy's not very good. Like this guy's a 5-star. It's like, can we give the kid, like, we're not even in January yet. Like, can we give the kids some time here in college, in the college basketball season to, realize that he's playing against better competition than he's ever played against in his life on a consistent basis. And by the way, we're about to get into the SEC schedule coming up, and then we're really going to see what he's made of. So I would urge Vols fans that have been down on him maybe to dial it back a little bit, calm down a little bit.
Yeah, well, and just be realistic. Yeah, just really the issue with the whole thing is just the tendency to overhype.
Yes.
It happens all the time, and
Arch
we were
Manning.
just talking. Yeah, we were just talking yesterday about Arch, which is the ultimate. The entire world overhyped him, and it's just like, and I'm not saying like I was the only one who's like, guys, calm down. There are other people saying that too, but it's like you don't know. So I agree with you. There is a fluidity with him for sure. You can see it. He's got to have more strength, and that's one thing. With Illinois in the Illinois game, it's not like Illinois is a super physical team, but they made a point of being physical with him. They made a point at times of hunting him when they had the ball with some of their more physical guys, and so it's just the reality of what he is. But look, that's a big win. I mean, Louisville, they've lost a couple games now. They lost at Arkansas. Arkansas is growing into a really good team. Okay, so I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to keep that in mind. But I mean, that's a win that's going to, just like the Houston win, that's going to come in handy. The SEC this year is not, and by the way, this win, Mikael Brown is the most talented player in Louisville. He didn't play last night, so you have to keep that in mind. But it's still going to be a very good win. The SEC is not what it was last year. It's still really good. I mean, last year it's like every freaking game is a quad one win. Right. It's like we'll never see that again. That was the greatest conference I've ever seen in my life, and I'm old and I've watched a lot of college basketball, and it's quite a bit down from that, and yet still really good. A lot of really good teams.
Well, then there's Vanderbilt, who is undefeated. Mark Byington's gotten them up to number 13 in the country right now. They're playing Memphis tonight on the road, which, by the way, as we've talked about before on the show, Joe, I love the in-state matchups. Now, Memphis is not all that good this year. You're 4-5 heading into this. We'll see what they eventually end up turning into, but what do you make of where Mark Byington now has this Vanderbilt program, who is currently 10-0 and number 13 in the country?
Yeah, I mean, it's awfully impressive what he's done in a short period of time. And this team, I don't want to, we talked earlier about talk about the fans and people showing up and everything like that, and they haven't played a lot of great teams. I think the most eye-popping thing they've done is put up 90 plus on St. Mary's, which is a team that always plays good D. But Vanderbilt right now, number 10 in KenPom, they have the fourth most efficient offense. They're top 30 in D too. So, but again, I do think KenPom. Remember, KenPom is just straight up your efficiency numbers, and so are theirs inflated a little bit because they haven't played quite the level of team as some of these other teams around them. I think that's fair. I also think like they're really, really legitimately good. And Tyler Tanner as a sophomore, his progress has been tremendous. Nickel went for 30 last game. They have a lot of shooters. They've replenished the front court, and they just play really efficient and fun to watch basketball. I think they have a chance to win the SEC. But again, it's like, I mean, like tonight, for example, that game looked more attractive going into the year than it does now. Memphis is pretty bad. Yeah. I expect them to go thump Memphis tonight. But pretty soon we're going to have some. I mean, I know Bama's coming in soon here to Nashville, and we're going to start really seeing if this team is what I think it could be, like a SEC champion / like deep tournament run type team in year 2 for Mark Byington. That's awfully impressive.
Coming up next, if you've been a longtime Vols fan, I would assume that you're about to be mad at Joe Rexrode, and I look forward to it. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Tonight on Totally Hits 93.3, catch MTSU men's basketball as the Blue Raiders take on Kennesaw State at 6:30. Coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at TotallyHitsNashville.com. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, and Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. I got a feeling that if you've been a Vols fan for a while, you're about to be upset with Rexrode. Rexrode, what argument have you been getting into on the social medias lately that I think I've seen this come up from time to time?
Okay, so you probably saw my back and forth with Mike Herndon then, huh?
I did.
Well, this is how this started, and it was Saturday night, Heisman stuff going on, and I almost never disagree with Mike Herndon on anything. I mean, I think I disagree with him way less than I disagree with, say, Paul Kuharsky.
Yeah.
Okay. But Mike Herndon, and I don't have the tweet in front of me, but he tweeted, I don't even know how it came up. I guess we were talking about snubs or whatever, Vanderbilt fans mad about Pavia. I don't know. But he basically tweeted, like, everybody knows that Peyton Manning should have won the Heisman over Charles Woodson by 1,000,000% or something like that. Like, basically saying it was a robbery and Manning was way, way better than Woodson, and everybody knew that, and it was obvious. And I'm like, dude, what? I'm sorry. Now, if you're a Tennessee fan listening to this, you can get mad, but I really think that you're wrong. I guess I never thought anyone looked at that. Yeah, of course Tennessee fans were mad because they thought Peyton Manning should have won, and that's fine. He would have been a good winner. It was, to me, one of the great Heisman races. That's my thing. I've always thought of that. I thought of that at the time, and I still do now, as one of the great Heisman races where it really was, like, either way, to me, would have been fine. Apparently, I mean, I'm looking at Herndon's, and now, so I don't know, I guess Jared said something, but I saw a clip from Chad Withrow on Twitter refuting, I guess Jared compared the Pavia to that one. I don't think it's a great comparison, but I heard Withrow's argument that basically, again, kind of saying the same thing, like this was clearly, obviously, Peyton Manning's award, and it's ridiculous that Woodson won it. And, you know, obviously Peyton Manning had great stats. We know he's a great player. I mean, one thing Withrow said was like he held like 12 NCAA records or whatever but again, it's not a career award. I mean, Peyton Manning started a few games into his freshman season in '94 and put up monster numbers, but that's not what it's about, right? It's about that year.
Yeah.
I believe Charles Woodson should have won the Heisman. I also would not have been mad if Peyton Manning did. I think it was a great race. Apparently, there are people, and I guess I'm naive to not think this, but even non-Vol fans, like Herndon's a Texas guy, right? He's a Texas Longhorn, who think that was a huge robbery. I mean, I'm stunned by that. I'm floored by that. I don't think that's the case.
I'll be totally honest with you. I mean, look, I don't have a strong opinion on that race. I was 5 years old when it happened, so it's not like I was sitting there watching, Charles Woodson and Peyton Manning day to day at the age of 5. So, like, it's never really upset me. But I can tell you, like, I have grown up, obviously, around a bunch of Tennessee people who think it is like the biggest robbery of all time. Like, yes, like it's my entire life. People have talked about how Peyton Manning got absolutely jobbed of the Heisman Trophy. Now, I'm in Tennessee, so you have to keep that in mind. But that's been something since I was an early child that people have complained about. Yeah.
So I'll tell you who got jobbed is Johnny Majors. Johnny Majors got jobbed. Paul Hornung of the 2-8 Fighting Irish beat up Johnny Majors in 1956. That's the one Tennessee fans complain about. I'm here to tell you. I mean, I already got a text. A Michigan homer. Woohoo! Yes, that's exactly. People confuse me with being a Michigan homer all the time. I'm telling you, I saw Charles Woodson in person multiple times, and he's the greatest college cornerback I've ever seen. And so another part of the thing that Withrow pointed out was like, he had like 4 touchdowns. I think the whole, he plays all, he plays offense, defense, special teams. That was gimmicky to help him win it. He did have a punt return for a touchdown to beat Ohio State, though, and a pick. He had this ridiculous pick in the game at Spartan Stadium against Michigan State, which was a huge play for him. It was a big game. It was like, I think, both top 10 teams. Nick Saban from Michigan State, and he had this one-handed pick. So that was like his Heisman moment. I'm telling you, he's the greatest corner I've ever seen. It's all about what he did as a corner. That was Michigan had 4 lost seasons, like last 3 or 4 in a row. They won it all that year. They went 12-0. They were not good offensively. Tom Brady couldn't even get on the field. He was back up for Brian Greasy, but
always a shot. Always a shot.
but it was one of the greatest defenses I've ever seen. And it was all about him, man. He absolutely erased half the field. He was an incredible player. That was my argument back and forth with Hernan. Like, dude, he's the greatest corner I've ever seen in college. And he's one of the greatest players I've ever seen in college. So yes, by traditional measures, a quarterback of Manning's stature with all of his stats and everything, and he was just kind of considered a lock, I think, for a lot of the year. Woodson snuck up on him out of nowhere, but I'm telling you, man, I do not think it was wrong. I do not think it was wrong at all, and I really think anybody who was there and covered Woodson would agree with me. I don't think it's just a regional thing. Now, the fact that Manning, there's a really good story from Andre Adelson about this, and about the Tennessee people thinking that ABC and ESPN pushed Woodson because back then they had the Big Ten, right? And then the Michigan people thinking that it was Fulmer who put Michigan way down his ballot, so they had to share the title with Nebraska that year, which is funny. Maybe both are true, but I think people are downgrading Charles Woodson if you don't think he was deserving of the Heisman that year. It wasn't about he plays off. He was incredible for a defense that won the national championship. And I'm sorry, but when you lose 33-20 at Florida, like that's just, it hurts you. Just like Pavia this year, when you don't play your best at Alabama and lose that game, it hurts you.
Well, it's funny you bring up Florida. I've stumbled across an article from Chris Lowe from 2017, going through the oral history of the 1997 Heisman Trophy race. And pretty early in here is a quote from Steve Spurrier, which is just right on brand. Yeah, we seem to always beat them. I'm sure that didn't help them any. I don't know. Tennessee went ahead and won the SEC that year. Sometimes those Midwest guys, maybe they just wanted the defensive back to win the thing. I can see why all those Vols fans are still mad about it. That was the quote from Steve Spurrier, which is just right on brand. Yeah, I guess it didn't help that we always beat them.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Tennessee. He should have won. Yeah, he said that he voted for him, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah. Again, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, obviously Charles Woodson should have won it. I lean that way, but I think we should all be able to agree. Like that was a no wrong answer year. I think some people just, because we never have defensive winners, struggle with that, right? And I know last year we had a true two-way player, but still like a very productive offensive player who won it still, right?
Yeah.
Charles Woodson is one of the greatest college football players I've ever seen. And I would say the same thing about Peyton Manning. It's just, the idea that was some joke win that's just the result of a conspiracy is not ball knowing people saying that, or at least not understanding that year what was happening on the field. It was incredible to watch what he did to offenses.
Aaron on the text line says, hereby revoking GB Joe's status from here on out. One texter says, stop trying to make a case for Woodson. You'll never convince people in this area that it was nothing short of robbery. Keith says, I want to be rational and agree with you, Joe, but the VFL in me says, screw that. Peyton was robbed. Kuharski has weighed in and says people were tired of Peyton Manning. Plain and simple. That's what the Kuharski has said.
So Kuharski, again, with an opinion that just is totally off the board and probably stupid.
I'm just telling you what he said. Again, I don't have a strong opinion on this. I was 5 years old when all this was going down.
Well, I will say, in reading this Adelson story, and this is what I was talking about the other day, 110 ballots didn't have Manning on the ballot. That is ridiculous. Now, 88 of them didn't have Woodson on the ballot. That's a year where, I'm sorry, if you're a voter and they're not both on your ballot, that's ridiculous. That to me is like you're trying to make something happen as opposed to just giving an honest vote. And that is part of the problem with the Heisman.
Yes. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. Rexrode hates Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. We'll take your reaction to that. Get into the Titans as well. Coming up, Paul Kuharski will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Rexrode sticking the knife into the back of Tennessee fans. By the way, is that the greatest Heisman finalist list of all time? Woodson, Manning, Ryan Leaf, Randy Moss. I mean, say what you will about Ryan Leaf and his pro career, but I mean, there's a reason that it was debated that he and Manning were number one overall.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. I forgot that Moss was part of that. Yeah, look, I feel like there's a variety of opinions back on this. Kaharski, look at this from Kaharski. Good job pretending you believe this. Nothing stirs up ratings like this. Shut up, dude. Don't be a jackass. I mean, yes. He says it's hard to believe you believe it. Feels Clay travesty. Okay, great. Now, look, man. Clay travesty. I like that. Yeah, I 100% believe this. Shut up, Kaharski. Stop being a dweeb. No, I 100% believe this. And again, it does matter. Now he's saying people were sick of Manning. That's fine. That may be true. There's probably there was a lot of Manning hype for 4 years, so maybe there was some Manning fatigue as part of this. I'm telling you, man, I watch this guy, and it does matter if you see someone in a press box or in a stadium and you see what he does to a game. He's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. There's two defensive players that I believe absolutely should have won the Heisman. It is him in 1997, and it is Ndamukong Suh, as I've said a million times, in 2009, who was so dominant. Like, that is the best player in college football. And that's what I said about Charles Woodson. I don't care about the punt returns. I don't care about every once in a while they gave him a reverse or threw a pass to him. That was gimmicky probably to help him win it. But no, as a corner, I'm in an argument right now on the text line. He's like, well, Manning's one of the best 3 or 4 quarterbacks that's ever played. I agree. What is Woodson as a corner? Tell me where Woodson is as an all-time cornerback in the NFL. I mean, I think he's top 3, top 2. I mean, I think he's that high. But as great as he was in the NFL, and he was for a long time, 1997, he terrified every single offensive coordinator they played. They would not mess with his side of the field. I swear to you. Like, this is not made up stuff. This is real stuff. And so I think the good voters who watched that, and again, watched a kind of certainly a middling offensive team with Brian Griese at quarterback while Tom Brady, went and, did scout team. Like, that team should not have been a 12-0 football team. And they go look at the rest of their defense and how many guys made an impact in the NFL. Not that many. He was that dominant that he completely changed the math on a pretty good team into a 12-0 national champion.
I mean, clearly this is it's a debate that's lived on for almost 30 years at this point, right? I mean, it's a good debate, but the debate should not be how this was horribly just this huge injustice. I don't think. Well, you're never going to win that argument around here. I mean, I think you got to know that heading into the conversation. I mean, you're in a radio show in Nashville, Tennessee. That argument is not going to be won here.
But again, if you're a Tennessee fan and you're like, Peyton should have won, that's a totally fine argument, right? That's fine. That's a great argument. The idea that, like, Woodson had no business being in the room, that's what we're talking about. Like, come on. That's not reality.
Keith said Woodson striking the Heisman pose is what did it. Peyton should have done that on his QB sneak. Just get in there, QB sneak. Peyton gets up, does the Heisman pose. He'd have been fine. And Pavia did that a few times.
Yeah, that's true. And he did not win. Did Mendoza do one?
I don't know. I don't know if I saw Mendoza do that.
Dennis, thank you, Dennis. Woodson over Manning was in no way robbery. That's all I'm saying. Caleb says Joe hates the 2 best QBs of all time. Look, I've told you, if we're in all seriousness, who is the best quarterback of all time? The best quarterback I've ever seen play football in the NFL is Peyton Manning. I've how many times have I said that, Robby?
You've said it many times.
Now, he didn't have the rings that Brady had, didn't have the longevity. But I believe that his stretch with the Colts, in 05 to including the Super Bowl, and that stretch, 03, 04, 05 to about 08, 09, 10, whatever. I think that's the greatest quarterback play the NFL has ever seen. So there you go.
No, he hates Brady much more than he hates Manning. There's no doubt about that.
I hate neither of them. They're great. But look, I bet you that in 1997, again, Tom Brady's third year of college, so he's a redshirt sophomore. I bet you that his play for the scout team helped Charles Woodson get ready every week.
I'm sure
I mean, that's an important role for a national champion. You're like, I don't remember if he was QB2 or QB3, but you're a backup. You get in the meeting room, you help Brian Greasy, the superior quarterback, get ready each week, and then you go out there to the scout team, and maybe Woodson honed his skills because of your work on the scout team. Good job, Tom Brady.
Thanks. I knew there was a way you could bring that back to Brady there. It's good stuff. In the most disrespectful manner possible.
Role. It's a very important role.
Most disrespectful manner possible. I mean, by the way, Brady in 1997, 12 of 15 on the year for 103, a high completion percentage in 97.
There you go. Little garbage time
Played
against
4
probably
games.
like Miami of Ohio or something, right? Yeah. Good job, Brady.
I'm looking at his overall college stats. I mean, it is kind of amazing he got drafted, given his physical build and the college stats that he put together. And then he ends up being the greatest player to ever play. It's amazing.
No, as I've said, because I'm sitting here making this strong case for a Michigan player and for Michigan fans. I mean, Michigan fans who claim Tom Brady is hilarious, man. I've been at a stadium where they booed so much that he was even on the field. I mean, it was like, get him out of here. Drew Henson is the legit talent. Why are we still messing with Tom Brady? What are you doing, Lloyd Carr? And I was like, Tom Brady, our hero. We love you so much.
Keith says, your NFL team is bad when you're debating the Heisman Trophy from 28 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey, we got plenty of Titans talk coming.
Yeah, exactly. We got some questions for PK.
Plenty of Titans talk coming. Yeah, people keep bringing up the NFL careers of both. Like, first off, it doesn't matter in the Heisman Trophy race how the NFL careers both shook out. But again, to your point,
Right.
like, I know they played different positions, and somebody has said, Austin says quarterback objectively harder to play, and I agree with that. Like, quarterback's probably the hardest position to play in sports. But if you're using Peyton Manning's NFL career to like justify the Charles Woodson part of it, it's like, well, Charles Woodson had a pretty darn elite NFL career as well, too. Yeah. Like, it's, again, that Heisman Trophy finalist in 97, Woodson, Manning, Moss, and then Ryan Leaf.
Yeah. So 3 truly like
of the best players to ever play the game.
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, some people would argue this on Manning. I think that you could make the argument top 3 all-time players at those positions.
Yes.
Am I being hyperbolic?
You could certainly make the argument. I mean, Moss, I don't think there's any question, is a top 3 wide receiver of all time. Woodson is definitely in that conversation. There, whether it's, Dion, you want to throw in there, somebody's throwing out, Revis that you could throw in there. Like there are different guys that you could
I
throw
think
in
it's
there,
Dion and Woodson. I do. I think it's those 2. So, Josh from Lebanon, I was a freshman in high school when this Heisman race was going on. Having lived here my entire life, listening to Tennessee fans, and being a Michigan fan myself, Woodson completely deserved the Heisman. Will that argument ever be won here? No. I wish you weren't a Michigan fan, Josh, because everything else you said there is like, there you go. But obviously, your fandom is going to get in the way here. And again, I'm not speaking from fandom. I'm just speaking from Woodson was incredible. No doubt about it. I do love the idea that Philip Fulmer, I guess I hadn't really heard that, or maybe I forgot. Like, Fulmer is the one who screwed Michigan in the Coaches Bowl.
I'd love to see it. Love to see the ballot.
This Adelson story quoted him. He's like, nah, I got to see if I can find this quote. He's like, oh, I don't remember where I voted him, but I think there was up there near the top.
I have no idea where I put him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an amazing. Yeah, here we go. Quote, Fulmer, quote, yeah, I've heard that once or twice, but that's not true. None of it is. I can't remember exactly where I did vote them, but I voted like I thought it should be, right near the top, because they were one of the top teams that year, end quote. So in other words, yeah, number 7, right? Is that cool?
I voted them at number 16. They're in the top 25. It's all good.
Yeah, that still means you're one of the top teams.
615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Kuharski will be with us at 8 o'clock, getting into all things Titans with him. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
I can be nimble.
Where are the fans? There's no fans here. Where are they?
Nick Saban slamming a beer for sure.
So you can ask the bottle, but don't ask me.
Built to pound.
I'm just sick and tired of our guys getting smashed down there. Smashed!
A pineapple? I have no idea what that means. I have dyslexia.
Oh my God. What do I do with my hands?
Why are you holding your hands like that?
What does you think of the balls grabbing Karen?
No, I'm just saying, like, you look ridiculous.
Paul, the dyslexic jerk. I yelled at everybody yesterday. It is time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning here on the program. More masterful work done by Ian Safar there. Joe, with that in the backdrop, the floor is yours.
Oh, I'm ranting.
I thought so.
I thought Ian was ranting today.
Are we?
Have
we gotten an Ian rant before?
No, agreeable Ian. At some point, I mean, once a year, agreeable Ian needs to just absolutely lose his mind on everything that's bothering him in the world.
Yeah,
as nice as he is.
The one thing, it's non-sports that has kind of been bothering me lately. I don't know if this is completely rant worthy, but I don't know if this is just something I've noticed as I've gotten older and doing more like grocery shopping. But the reason that some of these items at the food stores go on sale, I'm starting to wonder. I'm really starting to wonder why some of the food gets put on sale. It's starting to bother me.
We talking quality of food?
We're talking quality. We're talking expiration dates.
Oh boy.
We're talking this kind of stuff. Like, oh, this is on sale. I'm going to go look. Oh, it expires in 2 days. That's why.
That's why it's on sale.
That's why it's on sale. Oh, these raspberries, $1.99 a thing. Cool. We'll grab some, take them home, virtually inedible. So it's like, okay, has this always been why things have gone on sale at the grocery store? Is because they're either about to go bad or they don't taste good? Or is this just some new phenomenon?
Okay. That's a good point. I don't know.
Well,
I need to start paying attention.
I've bought, I mean, the thing that infuriates me is I've bought stuff and then I get it home and it's after the expiration. It's like, how in the heck could that be possible?
Yeah, just I've noticed it more and more lately, especially over the last few months. Maybe perhaps the whole shifting of the dynamics with the groceries and everything is playing a part. But I don't know. Just something I've noticed a little bit more lately.
Well, that's a good complaint. I would like to actually add a complaint to this rant on Kaharski. I mean, let's go back and see what he just said here. Okay. He is this? I guess I always thought Kaharski was honest when he went on the air, and put a microphone in front of his face. But is this how he goes about his business? Is this how he goes about his business to, quote, "This is a good job pretending you believe this. Nothing stirs up ratings better here. It's hard to believe you believe it." Like, what? Is that how you go about your business? That's very Stilly-ish. I think that would be another reason, I guess, that Stilly and Paulie should exist. So you guys can just make up fake opinions. We don't make up fake opinions. We may have dumb opinions. Well, I won't even say we.
Oh, you could say
I
we.
may have. But have we ever said in our hours, days, weeks, months of pre-show meetings, you know what? I don't think this opinion, but I'm just going to pretend I do to get conversation going. Have we ever done this?
No, I think our executive producer, Tom Izzo would run us out for that.
That's true.
I think he'd like that.
He'd have a big problem with that. But seriously, I mean, that's ridiculous. Kaharski needs to answer for himself here. I mean, I have always enjoyed Kaharski's previous shows that he was on. I enjoy him on our show. Is he just completely BSing us? Was he just full of crap? Was he actually like a country music fan when they played the Lene Kukua, and he actually knew all those songs?
Big fan of John Rich.
He didn't. What's that?
Big fan of John Rich.
Yeah. Big and Rich. Carsey's got like a Big and Rich box
set. Big and Rich. He's not really going to see Springsteen. He's going to see Big and Rich all over the country.
Yeah, so he's now texting instead of helping us out and being in studio. He's sitting there in
He's not
his
supposed to be here till
car,
8.
texting furiously in traffic, causing an accident. He says, "No, that's how you're going about your business." Was just no, it's not, you jackass. I mean, he's just whatever. He's just trolling me now. But I mean, this is a serious question for you, Karski. This is a serious question because it really is. Like, I hate that stuff. Like it's not hard to just tell what your actual opinion is. It may suck. I've had terrible opinions. I mean, Hendon Hooker by now, I think, was going to be an all-pro quarterback. Okay. So, like, we're wrong all the time, but like, there's no reason to have a fake opinion. I watched Charles Woodson in 1997, and he's one of the greatest college football players I've ever seen. That's not some made-up thing. Did you notice that he won the Heisman? You think that's some crazy opinion someone would make up? Shut up, Karski. He better admit that he's just trolling right now. If not, then I have to question his entire career.
One texter says, in true Ian fashion, the most Mr. Rogers rant of all time about the groceries. That was good stuff. Let's go to our phone line.
Very kind rant.
It was. Our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunting.com. Welcome in Chad in Hendersonville to the program. Chad, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, I'm loving it. Good stuff. Kaharski has made his entire career, and I've been following him for a long time just by following local radio and all that, by being a contrarian. I mean, that's just based on fact that he lives to go to the opinion that is low-hanging fruit, that will go to argumentative, that will stir up his brand, right? I mean, we all have to have a brand. We all have to sell something. And I've always thought that he was selling a contrarian opinion or selling something that was against the grain or love to be. I mean, he's kind of famous.
So you've always thought he was fake? You thought he was fake?
Well, I don't think it's fake is a tough word, because I think it's just, you have to have a brand. I mean, he is infamous in the professional world through the Titans camp of being that guy, right? He's the guy that, how many times has he tried to bait the respective NFL coach with the Titans? I know where you're going with this, Paul. He's had numerous interactions with players where he loves to go after them. So, I mean, that's kind of his brand, right? And so when he sees an opportunity like this, he's going to jump right in there, because at the end of the day, what are we talking about? We're talking about Paul Kaharski, right? And that's the brand, right? That's how else is he going to get there? So I think this is just on brand for me.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate the call.
Yeah.
Masterful job there, Rexrode, of getting the conversation to flip on Paul Kuharski there. Look at you. Getting people calling in bashing Paul now.
I mean, everybody has to have a brand. What's my brand? An Alyssa Milano obsessed gout sufferer? I don't know. I don't. I mean, what Chad is saying is that Kaharski's fake and has built his career on, which I've never believed until now. I've never believed that. I think Kaharski is a contrarian because he is I mean, listen, in all seriousness on Kaharski, how many times since he's been on our show have we batted about some ridiculous Jared thing where he's actually like the voice of reason about it, right?
Yeah. Let the record show. I have lots of respect for Paul Kuharski and the job that he does.
Well, I mean, I have too.
Let the record show.
I always have. I mean, today may be a tipping point. I mean, he's going to have to answer for himself.
Well, I guess he'll do that here in a minute. Paul Kuharski from paulkuharski.com will be with us coming up next. We got a lot of things on the Titans front, and I guess the 1997 Heisman Trophy race to get into with him as well. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com is going to be with us for the next hour, talking all things Tennessee Titans. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. We're talking Titans. Rexrode struck a nerve with people with the 1997 Heisman Trophy race, and we now welcome Paul Kuharsky into the program. PK, happy Wednesday morning to you.
Good morning. Joe got so confused by such simple text, tied up. And so if he actually believes what he's saying, which is a great ratings grabber, as I said, then
that's a crazy opinion?
It's not a crazy opinion that he should have been in the conversation. I think it's a somewhat crazy opinion that he should win it. But you're not kind of admitting the geographic thing. You're how old were you?
I was in my 20s.
So your 20s, probably, in Michigan. You got to kind of give some context here. You're a 20-year-old in Michigan. Of course you wanted Charles Woodson to win. Like, where's that context?
Is that right? That's interesting. Okay. Of course, the Michigan State student wanted Charles Woodson to win. No, that totally makes sense.
You said he's the second best the first or second best corner of all time, and you say Manning is one of the 4 best quarterbacks of all time. And we talk all the time about how a quarterback outranks a cornerback. But in this instance, you're saying it's kind of a no-brainer that the cornerback would outrank the quarterback.
I didn't say it was a no-brainer. I said that he deserved to win it. It was an incredible race. It was very close. I said multiple times, neither answer was wrong. The tipping point to
kind of wrong.
No. The tipping point to me is that, again, the dominance of Woodson exceeded the dominance of Manning to the point where he took a defense. Again, go look at the rest of the defense.
I heard it all. You don't need to repeat it. Everyone heard it.
So, again, they went
12-0
undefeated. They went undefeated because of him at that position. I agree on the position, but that position, that year was so dominant. They went 12-0. Peyton Manning lost 33-20 at Florida. That's going to hurt you in the Heisman race. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Like, it was finally the year they were going to beat Florida, and he didn't do it.
Great. It's pretty well established. People were sick of Peyton Manning at that time, and they were looking for an alternative, and Charles Woodson gave them a great one. But to dismiss that as a factor in the thing, I think is relatively naive.
Okay, fine. It may have been a factor. For you to suggest that someone who thinks Charles Woodson should have won the Heisman in 1997 is a fake opinion for ratings, I mean, come on, man.
Dude,
I mean, you're just talking at this point.
Can you not see what's a joke and what's not a joke on there? I mean,
well,
for you to get that stirred up about that when I'm screwing around with you, it's amazing the power I have over you with the text.
Okay, so it was all a joke.
That part where I said you're making it up to get good ratings. But it's working. I mean, nobody's tuning out now that you're so stirred up by it.
I suppose this is your brand, as the caller just said.
That guy's ridiculous. that guy, does he want nobody holding the Titans' feet to the fire? Does he want nobody asking Isaiah Wilson why he's bad? Does he want nobody asking Kevin Dodd why he can't get it together? Kevin, come here and let me give you a cuddle like the organization's doing.
Asking Vrabel if this is good to great.
Pac-Man, come here. Asking Callahan if this is, the words he put on the wall. Is that this team? I mean, if the guy wants if that guy is interested in people who cuddle the Titans, he's got plenty of places to go. We might as well have somebody asking some more difficult things. Contrarian by nature. I mean, I'm contrarian by nature, but when a team sucks, I'm going to ask them about why they suck.
So, by the way, Robbie, we've now gotten into PK and Stilly territory with, I'm the only one who ever asked a question.
I don't think I'm the only one that ever asked a question, but a lot of public comes to me and says, hey, you're the most hard-hitting guy out there, and I'm not going to deny that as the fact. I am the guy who most consistently asks questions. And for Stillman to suggest that is incredible. Stillman has never faced a guy who he says sucks. And you're still talking about Stillman, who's now a small little guy who's on the internet an hour a day. Let's stop pretending like he's setting any agendas. He's not.
Well,
still in Paulie.
There's 5 minutes down of the hour with PK that Rexrode has stirred up here. So, PK, let's get into the Tennessee Titans, of course. A loss in San Francisco, but as we've discussed the last few days here on the show, the offense appears to be getting better. Now, I'm not going to go overboard with it. They still got plenty of problems. They still miss out on plenty of plays. But Pollard, specifically in the running game, has looked like a different player the last couple of weeks. So let's just start there. Why do you think that's been the case? Why has he been so successful the last couple of weeks? And if he keeps this up for the rest of the year, does it at all change how you view him and running back moving forward if you're the Tennessee Titans?
It does not change how I view Pollard going forward. I mean, it took this long to get him going. That's a lot of it's involved with the offensive line. A lot of it's the teams they played. The Browns played very poor run defense in that game. San Francisco, their defensive front is not their strength. They can't rush the passer, which feeds into that a little bit. I think I also think while Pollard, particularly against Cleveland, broke free a couple times, some of these runs in San Francisco, while he's getting more than he was getting, somebody truly good would be getting more than he's getting. They need younger legs and more juice there. I absolutely think. Here's the thing I think. They flipped the switch. They got to the right part of the schedule, but they flipped the switch. Skoronski said, like the week after, no, he said after the Cleveland game, they got sick of hearing what they heard after the Jacksonville game. Like when I asked, do you guys give a bleep?
Yeah.
And when they were just fielding questions about why can't you run it? Why can't you do anything? And the message from Denard Wilson that week about what they needed to do with Myles Garrett and all of that stuff seemingly flipped the switch. Skoronski talked about it. Latham talked about it. Moore talked about it. I don't know why it took so damn long, but all of a sudden, and it's only 2 games,
yep.
And I think there'll be some harder challenges ahead. But something flipped in those guys like, hey, we got to take this damn game over. That offensive line mentality that you want all of a sudden showed up.
Well, it does beg the question of why it took so long, Joe, right?
Yeah, there is that. So I guess we could get into like, are Bill Callahan's lessons finally finally sticking with these guys, or was he the problem? I mean, I'm saying that's not a real opinion. That's a fake opinion. PK, just to clarify for you.
Yeah, I mean, these are his disciples teaching his stuff. So
yeah, they still have Olga and Bertha. But on the running back front, so you mentioned younger legs. So what about the other 2 guys? Are they keepers moving forward? Mullings, we haven't seen much at all. I mean, who knows, I guess. But, Spears, you keep it as either your third down back while you try to go get a better primary back. And do you look at it like it probably needs to be a free agency hit as opposed to, or, middle round? People talking about Jeremiah Love, like I think it would be borderline irresponsible for them
I agree entirely.
He's going to go way too high.
I agree.
But how do you address it?
I address it in free agency if I can. I haven't looked in detail at the back. I think Breece Hall's the number one guy. If Breece Hall fits
Devontae
what the new
Williams is out there.
Yeah, if Breece Hall or Williams fits what the new coach wants, I'd go that route, which is what they did with Pollard. You get hopefully 2 years out of that guy, maybe 3, and then you're in position to go spend a high draft pick and try to find somebody that's in the that could be a successor to Earl Campbell, Eddie George, Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry. But right now you don't have that luxury, and you're going to have to fill some things with free agents. And there are some good free agents in the running back thing. They're not long-term solutions. They can do what Pollard has done, perhaps, hopefully better and hopefully a little bit longer. But also, I had this conversation with Braden Gall yesterday. There's this thing where we're loading positions at the front of the draft, right? And now the hot thing has become, just get that guy in the 4th or 5th round. And we've started really stacking up the 4th or 5th round. Well, get a running back in the 4th or 5th round. Get the second corner in the 4th or 5th round. Get another tight end in the 4th or 5th round. Get a defensive lineman in the 4th or 5th round. Maybe get an alternative to Barton in the 4th or 5th round. Well, all of a sudden we got 5, 6 needs in the 4th or 5th round where they're going to have 2 or 3 picks. So again, the list is longer than the actual number of things they have to use as solutions there. Plus, when you're talking fourth or fifth round, the hit rate is way down. If they find one player in the fourth or fifth round who can solve a problem for them next year, that's pretty good.
Or we're probably getting diluted a little bit because they've got 3 fourth rounders right now that have played meaningful snaps on this team.
Yeah, right. Which is an exception, and great. And quite frankly, you're hoping maybe they have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, but they have 3 at least. You need those to hit and at a better quality play rate, not to take any shots at DK or Helm or Isle Manor, who have been pretty good for the value. But now you need guys to hit pretty well for the value in 1, 2, 3.
I just feel like running back is, we talk all the time about how you're just not, you're going about as well as you can do it, tackle in free agency as Mandor. And you're not, there's some of these positions you're just not getting great players in free agency. But at running back,
you can find guys.
I think teams so rarely want to give a second deal to a running back. I think you often, most years, have some guys who come in like Pollard did.
Yeah,
and
you
even
see some of these guys
when they got DeMarco Murray, for a 4th rounder or whatever. I mean, like, you can get a good running back still and then not have to devote a pick to it.
Yeah, and you see some of these guys bounce around that you're not particularly impressed by. Swift,
He's good this year.
Yeah, right. And at the beginning of the year, outside of looking at your fantasy chart, would you have remembered where he was?
No, I mean, and he didn't do anything last year running the ball, and then you get the right fit, right players around him, and all of a sudden he looks like a productive guy again.
Or even if, I'm not saying he's the same caliber in Breece Hall, but Josh Jacobs, I just saw, has scored 31 touchdowns in 31 games with the Packers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
Yep. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Paul Kuharsky with us the rest of the hour. We got a lot on the Titans front to get to. We welcome your questions on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode 1025 The Game. Paul Kuharsky with us from paulkuharsky.com. I got some tickets to give away. See the Predators take on the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at Bridgestone Arena. Puck drop at 7 o'clock. In honor of Kuharsky, we'll go caller 9. Caller 9, 615-737-1025. Our phone number. Caller 9 will win a pair of tickets to see the Preds take on the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at Bridgestone Arena. PK, obviously 2 better offensive performances in a row for the Titans. Getting into the 20s around here is a big deal. Cam Ward, I didn't think was especially good against the Browns. Made a couple of nice throws in the red zone. Some good plays by him in this game. Also, a couple of misses that seems like he makes every week, where you walk away and you say, yeah, you need your starting NFL quarterback to be able to hit those throws. So on the whole, right now, are you seeing any meaningful progress from Cam Ward in your mind? How do you feel about where he is as we're now heading into the 15th game of the season for him?
Yeah, I think there's definitely meaningful progress. I mean, he's had 2 games in a row with 2 touchdown throws. We weren't seeing anything like that. We're seeing some runaround plays. The touchdown to Simmons was good. Made a great throw, broke free to make a great throw to DK, which is flat out drop.
Yep.
Horrific. But the throw to Gunnar Helms, a good throw for a touchdown catch, and that is outside. Outside the numbers, there are some issues for sure. The throw for Van Jefferson should be a touchdown right before the half. That makes it a 17-17 game and changes the complexion of things, at least for a little while. And instead, they end up trying a 50-yard field goal and missing at 17-10. And then the defense, which didn't do anything all day, gives up the easiest drive of the day, 4 plays, and things start to get out of hand. But that's a defensive loss. I mean, they didn't stop San Francisco ever. There was 1 turnover there, and they scored on every other drive of the game. The punter didn't take the field to punt. So I thought offensively, they ran for the 2nd game in a row. Offensive line was better. San Francisco doesn't have a good pass rush, and the Titans didn't let them pass rush. So if you can't see incremental gains there and you want to just focus on Cam missing the deep throw and Cam's problems outside the numbers and all of that, that's fine. Again, we said, I think most of us were in agreement, this story was going to be about Cam Ward's progress over the course of the season. And there's progress. It just hasn't come with the number of wins that we suspected, 4, 5, 6. And that's a disappointment. But now, they're in better draft position for it. And I think the arrow is up on Ward with tons of work to do on the mechanical stuff, on those outside throws. He's never going to be great at those outside throws, probably. Needs to be better at them. And then they need to scheme better to give him more of the throws that he's better at.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think anybody focusing on either, which we see a lot of in this discussion, there's some people that just want to look at these. Look, I can put this highlight tape together. Look at what this guy's going to be incredible. And then some people are like, look at the numbers or look at these terrible throws. But I am concerned, PK, about the miss, the Jefferson, another example. Like you said, the accuracy outside the numbers seems to be. It's like, is it outside the numbers? Some people talking about, downfield, like deep. To me, he has made some terrific downfield throws, but it seems like that area is more the issue. But also, he's missed some stuff over the middle of the field too that you can't miss. I guess that's just my thing is, and you don't know the answer. We don't know the answer, but how much can he improve it? How much can it be improved realistically by an NFL quarterback?
Yeah, we don't know. His accuracy is not going to be a strength. But I was looking the other day, some of the completion percentages for guys like Bo Nix, for example. I was guessing at some of these completion percentages and then calling them up. And completion percentages for some of the quarterbacks that you would expect to be up are not fantastic. And his completion percentage has gone up. It's never going to be a strength, but if he's a guy that completes, say, 66% of his passes, and makes the most of those 66% of his passes, can he be a quality quarterback in the league? I think sure. And so, but to me, again, I know it gets repetitive. Who's the coach, and how good are they at affecting change with him? I think you got to get somebody in here who gains his respect and his trust, who alters things, who communicates well with his private quarterback coach for while he's away from the building, get some real work done on that stuff. They liked Carson Palmer with Will Levis. They need to get to that place with his guy, and do a lot of work in the offseason on the mechanical stuff. I wrote, weeks ago that the real makeover in those departments can't come until the offseason. And then, those things can have a bearing on those throws to a degree. And then you have to play to his strengths. And you got to give him more talent. Look, drops are built into everybody's completion percentage.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence has had a ton of drops this year, and he's doing fine. But some of the drops are just killer for this team. And Van Jefferson works his ass off, but he has not given them what they needed, which was a steady possession guy. They've got to add at least 2 people to that room who are going to be reliable receivers for him. And one of them needs to be an explosive guy who could take the top off the defense.
Well, I feel like one of them needs to be that guy, and you're probably not finding that guy in free agency. So I think the other one needs to be a veteran, because right now I'm looking at it. You've got, I think we're assuming Ridley's gone, right?
Yeah.
So you've got Io Manor, DK, whoever you draft. Like I think
the draft guy needs to be the number one guy.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you also need
a Alec Pierce or Romeo Dobbs are the 2 names that leap out to me.
I agree. And I think that's got to be a priority. So, yeah, like I think there's still a lot of work to be done on the receiving front here. We were talking about this Monday. The thing that I think he clearly does really well, and you saw it on the Simmons touchdown, we've seen it throughout the year. Like his ability to escape and extend is really good. And you can't live and die by that in the NFL. You got to be able to throw it from the pocket. But I think we've seen enough of a sample size at this point to realize that Ward is going to be pretty good when he can break a play out like that.
Yeah, and he's got to become a little bit more natural at taking off.
Yes.
Also. It feels like it's one or the other. I don't know that he's found the balance of both, right?
Yeah.
So let's say there's a game where he scrambles like that 4 times and he runs 4 times. So there's 8 plays there that are probably going to wind up being difference-making plays in terms of drive extenders. And if you could have 8 plays that are drive extenders that are kind of off script, that's real bonus.
So just to go back on Ridley, are you 100% he's gone? Like there's no chance that there would be any consideration that he could still be some sort of a factor here, or that there's any value in having him here?
I mean, I think there could be value in having him here depending on what else goes on in the market. But are you going to keep him at the beginning of free agency until you see what happens? I mean, generally you'd like to give a guy his opportunity to get on the market and go do what he does. But you're conducting a business, and I wouldn't have a problem with them holding on to him until that first wave of free agency comes out and securing Pierce before you let him go. I don't know that I don't know if there are guarantees in his contract that you need to get out of on the first day of the league year or anything like that. I haven't looked that closely at the money, but I think Calvin Ridley also hasn't been as reliable as they need him to be. No. And I think as you're setting up to have a more reliable wide receiving core, it's a bigger move to let him go than just moving to the next guy. It's a part of a philosophical changeover. So to me, it would be the move to make.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More coming with Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com. Coming up next, more your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Paul Kuharsky with us here on the program. Taking your questions as well at 615-737-1025. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Trey to the program. Trey, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good, buddy.
Hey, I just
Great.
want to say, hey, I think by Patrick Mahomes being out, I think we have a good chance of winning this game over 50%, because if the quarterback that they haven't even sniffed the turf, I think we have a decent enough chance to pull this one out. And I'm gonna say this: Cam Ward needs to start showing the fans, the organization, the media pundits what he can do this week. Patrick Mahomes is out. This is our chance to get a win. You know, as far as getting rid of Kevin Ridley, I think we should get rid of Kevin Ridley, but pay him out. You know, start off fresh and find a stud wide receiver 2, veteran. Not somebody that's coming off an injury, not somebody that, you know, that have less than 1,000 yards a season. We need a stud number 2, and it's not Kevin Ridley. We need to get a receiver in the draft, second round, a stud draft pick to where we can mold them into what we need as far as somebody that's going to be compliant and comparable to Cam. That's what we need. I know we need an edge rusher, but right now we need some wide receivers, and I love y'all. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate
It's
it.
hard to just go into the free agency market and find what you're describing. I mean, you're hopeful, but, you know, last time the receiver they found was Calvin Ridley.
Yep.
So, you know, there's only so much to choose from out there.
Which was pretty good in the moment. It's like that's a talent infusion,
right? But he's out there in part because he had a gambling history, and he was a little bit of a pain in the ass for the teams that had him before. Anybody you're going to be able to get in free agency, somebody's judging not to be worth keeping, because they have financial problems or have judged to be not somebody worth keeping. So there's that. You're not getting an absolute gem in free agency, generally speaking.
So if they successfully draft wide receiver 1, who's a better of the two? You guys earlier, Robby mentioned Dobbs. You mentioned Dobbs. You mentioned Pierce, which is interesting. Who would be better as a wide receiver 2? Are both of those guys legit wide receiver 2?
I think Pierce is more attractive. Robbie knows more about Dobbs.
Well, it depends on what you want. Pierce is the better downfield guy. So, I mean, it's not close. Dobbs is not a downfield guy. Dobbs is a great route runner, and he's really good in the red zone. So what do you want? Like, what is your wide receiver 1? Like, let's say it's Carnell Tate. What does he do well? He can do it all well, but he can go deep. He can catch the ball. Like, so how do you want to complement whoever your wide receiver 1 would be? I think Pierce and Dobbs are very, very different in terms of their style.
And then if you're looking at the draft, I mean, I think Jordan Tyson is I'm with TD. I don't love West Coast receivers and the kind of toughness thing. Malachi Lemon from USC is another West Coast guy. He's 5'11", 195. Yep. He's explosive, but I'd like bigger, obviously. Jordan Tyson's the guy I'm talking about as a West Coast guy. So you're getting more. Carnell Tate would be probably top 10. So, you know, if you're waiting till later, you're talking more about maybe the Tennessee kid, who you guys have watched more closely than I.
Brazzle, yep.
Who's intriguing, or this list I'm looking at is including tight ends. Concepcion,
yep, who
I'm intrigued by.
Okay, I got a couple questions. Well, first of all, it's Mekhi Lemon, not Malachi. Okay. So I will tell you right now, I would take Mekhi Lemon all day long as my slot receiver for the next 10 years. He's going to be tremendous. But you said TD with West Coast. What's the lack of toughness?
He thinks they're generally softer than guys and they don't have as much dog in them. I know it's a big generalization, and I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Because Amon-Ra St. Brown's got about as much dog in him as anybody in the league.
Right. There are going to be some exceptions to it, but broadly. And I think he's putting, again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, Jordan Tyson in that basket.
Speaking of wide receivers, can we eliminate the reverse/jet sweep to Jim DK?
I wrote about that today.
Holy smokes. Is that the last time we've seen it?
Why do they keep running these fly motions end arounds and jet sweeps with him? Why do they keep throwing these screens to him? I mean, Nick Holt said that some of them are out of obligation, that you run these motions that buy some attention. Once in a while, you have to give the guy the ball on that to make it believable. And the screens, some of them are screens, some of them are these run solutions. The perimeter blocking is the bigger issue. But who do you trust to get their hands on the ball to have a chance to do anything with it? I think Spears is number one. And because you're counting on the tight ends to block, DK is number two. But it looks like a team that is smashing its head against the wall with plays that do not work.
Have they gained a yard on it all year?
I have the
amazing.
number. I have the numbers in my story. I can call them up for you here. It's bad. DK's taken 10 handoffs for 11 yards. He's caught 10 screens for 38 yards. And on these run checks to quick throws, he's caught 4 passes for 13 yards.
Not very good.
And I could give you more here. In the he had in the runs 3 rushes for 18 yards in the first 2 games. Since then, 7 carries for -7 yards.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to show it. I understand the philosophy. I mean, if you always show it and you never give the ball, then at some point they're just going to ignore it. But also, man, but what a costly. I mean, it just like every time there's someone who completely blows a block, though, right? That's what it looks like.
Chig blew a big block on the screen. But look, you're at the 5-yard line. You have first and goal from the 5, and then you have second and goal from the 12.
Yeah.
That blew that drive.
Yep.
It turned it into a field goal.
Totally.
I hate that ever in the low red zone.
And they run it in the first 2 series pretty much every game. It feels like it's just a killer.
What did you make of Arden Key after the game, talking about how the defensive staff doesn't make any adjustments, I guess, and then Denard Wilson response, which we played earlier in the show to that, did not seem like Denard Wilson was a big fan of the comments from Arden Key.
Yeah, I mean, I think Arden Key's frustrated, and he's going to be the guy that talks. But how much is he allowed to be vocally frustrated versus how much is he contributing to the things to be frustrated about? I think is a fair question, but look, it's such a crappy season that I think somebody should be saying something about something. I don't know if his is the most logical thing, but let's, everybody can't be in there just saying, yeah, la-di-da, this is.
Well, it just seems to be his go-to. It's like the third time he said something like that. When you think back to, when Callahan first got in there, it was like Vrabel and Bowen, they never made any corrections. It's like, really, huh? They never made any corrections at all.
Yeah. That is.
It feels like his go-to.
I haven't thought of that. You're dead on there.
I mean, you've held him hostage before and forced him to say things in front of a camera. Like maybe you can talk to him, PK, because it just seems like he's just kind of throwing stuff out there.
He's not super available in the locker room this year, I will say.
Is he hiding from you?
I don't know.
Specifically,
I would like to talk to him this week
to
delve into some of this.
He has put it on the record that he loves PaulKuharsk.com.
That's right.
Paul Kuharski.
Yes.
It's a great site.
It's a good site, man.
Faithful subscriber.
It's a good site, especially if you spell it right. That's my little poem.
Poem with an E, not
poem.
Poem,
as some in the South like
poem.
to say. Poem.
Yeah. Good grief.
We do have questions for PK on the text line. We should throw real quick. LD from McMinnville has asked before, wants to ask again. Can Helm become this modern version of the Titans' Frank Wycheck? So those are big shoes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different league now. Look, you're only going to get so much blocking out of your best tight end, particularly if he's going to catch the ball a lot. They have started to target him more. He's a willing blocker. I think he's going to be a primary player for them. All of these things about the standing of players comes down to this, which sucks, right? But how does a new coach like him?
Yeah.
So Josh Wiley wasn't a good player, right? But Vrabel liked something about him. Callahan's staff comes in, they don't like him at all. So he falls by the wayside. There are going to be guys like this on the new team. I'm not saying I think Gunnar Helm is above the line. Like there's certain guys you like no matter what. But there's a second tier of guys with below that line who could or could not be players for the new coach that he likes. And it just, how does he strike him? What does he like about his game? What doesn't he like about his game? What does he like about his personality? What doesn't he like about his personality? And he comes into OTAs like with a little bit of an arrow up or an arrow down. And then what does he do from there? And that's how new regimes work.
No, I totally agree. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Another quick one here. Can you talk a little bit on the cap? Oh, a talk about question. Can you talk a little bit about the cap space? How much could be spent on signing free agents like Breece Hall / Deebo Samuel, et cetera, to avoid using picks? How much should stay in reserve for extensions, rookies, et cetera? Do you have all the numbers broken down?
I can tell you the Titans have the most
Samuel.
cap space in the league based on overthecap.com right now.
I wouldn't be looking at Deebo Samuel.
No, I wouldn't either.
He's
giving them as an example.
Yeah. They have a lot of money to spend, and they don't have a lot of guys to extend. I mean, you're looking at Simmons, who will be expensive, but the first year of the cap for a new contract can cost as much or as little as you want based on the way you structure it. And I think you start thinking about Skoronski. Outside of that, who do they have to extend?
The list is not long. I mean, Titans, according to overthecap.com, have $108 million, almost $109 in cap space. So they're going to be able to make a lot of moves if they want to.
They need to do stuff with that.
Yeah,
they need to do stuff.
And that's on a predicted cap. That probably goes up because the cap will probably be bigger than they're predicting.
615-737-1025, our phone number. One more segment with PK coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com with us here on the program. PK, could we see the strep be called again this week for the Tennessee Titans? Could Xavier Restrepo be back in the lineup?
I think it's possible he returns to practice this week. If you look, he got hurt end of November, very beginning of December. They would have put him on practice squad IR if they thought he'd be out 4 weeks. So that means they anticipated him being back either this week or next week. So I'd say 50-50 that he practices this week.
How have we not been talking about him when we talk about the future of this receiving core?
Got to put him on
Big
the list.
whiff.
I mean, the number 7 receiver heading into camp next year. It's excitement.
Got a chance to work his way up.
When you're talking about adding explosive receivers, you've got to include them there.
You do.
Please,
Great chemistry with Cam.
Please note the sarcasm that I'm speaking with.
Rexrode has a hard time with that sometimes.
Is that a real opinion or is that a fake opinion?
It's real. I'm not drumming up.
Who knows?
I mean, the ratings will come.
Robby and I do real opinions. That's what we do on this show. We do real opinions. So you have your brand, your fake opinion brand. So
it's so funny.
Good luck with that.
I accused you of faking something, and somehow you turn that on me.
You. Yeah.
Well, yes, because again, it's like when someone assumes someone is doing something unethical, then I'm like, oh, you must be an unethical person then. If you assume that people do these things. Like, we have an honest show here. We value that. We've always thought that you were part of our honest show.
I
Paul.
am a part of your honest show, Chief.
It's good to know.
Okay.
Good to know.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
He turns things around.
He does.
We need some holiday
He's defensive
affirmation
out there.
I deal with a little bit of vertigo periodically, and then Joe's not helping.
No.
But I don't help his gout.
Jeez,
So,
I
I
was about
mean,
to
I
say,
guess it's different.
vertigo, gout. We got a lot of problems on this show.
Yeah, we're getting old.
A lot
My
of problems
foot
on this show.
My foot is throbbing right now.
I have dyslexia.
PK, we have not had much negative to say about Jeffrey Simmons this year. Is it time to take him off the field goal block team? We need to go ahead and take him off field goal.
Well, Bones Fossil has a very good way of explaining everything, and he said that Simmons is doing exactly what he coaches. Now, teams are doing this thing where the guard leans a certain way and the center leans his head into the A gap. And so if a defensive tackle is rushing that A gap, teams are trying to take advantage of getting called for that penalty. Now, Simmons is getting called for it. He says other defensive tackles around the league are getting called for it. I don't see defensive tackles getting called for hitting Morgan Cox in the head.
No.
So, they got to find a counter move to it now. But it's certainly when you're giving a team a new set of downs instead of having them settle for a field goal, it's not advantageous for the Titans. And the way Jeff reacts to it is kind of weird. Like, if you hit him in the head, it's a penalty. Like, you can't. I don't know what he's arguing in the counter. Like, hey, they got me by him leaning his head.
Yeah, why can't the Titans find someone to do that?
Yeah,
exactly.
The other way.
That's what they should be trying it. And apparently it's succeeding around the league.
Guess so. I mean, Trey brought up the Chiefs game earlier. I will say, I'm interested to see how the Kansas City Chiefs look this week for a team that has, perennially been in the Super Bowl since Mahomes has set foot in there. They've just basically been at minimum in the AFC Championship game. And now that they're officially eliminated from the playoffs, he's out. You got Gardner Minshew playing. I'm very fascinated to see the level of give a darn that Kansas City's going to have in this game.
They could well be very deflated. But Gardner Minshew's had some success against the Titans before, and the Titans have a long history of losing to second-tier quarterbacks, and he's on that list. They've beaten him as well. But it will be interesting to see. It's funny because the Titans sold one game as premium this year, and this was it, and it's very much not premium. I was confused by the national lament, particularly by the TV networks, like at the Chiefs being out of it. Like, we're supposed to be mourning this. And I think much of America has had Chiefs fatigue and is happy not to see them in there. What's wrong, networks, with us seeing something new happen in the AFC?
Well, I've seen some people float the idea out there. It's like, well, this will probably the Chiefs aren't going to be in. Joe Burrow's not going to be in the playoffs. We'll see if Lamar can figure it out. Like, this is going to be like the least watched NFL postseason in a long time. I'm like, have we not learned anything about the NFL? Like, people are going to watch the NFL playoffs. Yeah. I promise you.
And someone new will emerge. It'll be terrific.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dumb conversation around the Chiefs' struggles, including like the dynasty being done thing. I mean, that's stupid. Again, Brady and Belichick went a decade. I guess maybe people were saying it then. I don't remember. They were always good. Patrick Mahomes, we'll hear from him again. Another thing to remember, guys, on the Chiefs, not to be a total apologist, but in the last 6 years, they played 19 extra games because of deep runs. So they played more than a full season extra of football in this run that they've been on, which you would think there'd be a little wear and tear on.
Yeah, they need to rest and reset. They'll have a better draft pick here, but they have some replacing to do. Like Travis Kelce is done, and it's time to find, and they never sufficiently replaced Tyreek Hill. It's time for them to re-weaponize. And this is a good offseason for them to try to do that.
Lenny says no way the Chiefs lay down for the Titans. A lot of pride on that team. They're going to smoke the Titans. We'll see. Chiefs haven't really smoked anybody. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, it's
Minshew magic.
Easy pick to pick the Titans to lose.
Yeah, I mean,
if you look at what they've done this year.
I mean, that does check out.
Really going out on a limb there. Don't block the box. Be sure to lock your locks.
Next man up with Jake Lyman and Corey Curtis is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.